Welcome back, viewers. Now shifting our focus to the continuing tensions that are escalating between the Israel and the Hezbollah, where right now we are breaking with that the Israeli military intercepted a missile fired from Yemen as its ongoing bombardment of Hezbollah in Lebanon has raised the fears of all-out war in the Middle East. Sirens went off in several areas in the central Israel, including Tel Aviv, as a result of missile that was fired from Yemen. All right, viewers, now Israel intercepts, in fact, Israeli missiles right now. Ballistic missile attack on the central Israel is reported. Right now, joining me at this point of time is my colleague, Brian. Brian, you know, there are, of course, development that we are tracking at this point of time as the Middle East crisis in Lebanon is, in fact, also exploding. And in fact, the statements that are coming from all across, Israeli intercepting the ballistic missile, in fact, is the latest that we are tracking at this point of time after the killing of the Hezbollah commander in the Israeli airstrike, where 18 injured in Tel Aviv after the Israel has ran for the cover. What are the latest, Brian, that you are tracking at this point of time as far as the ballistic missile from Yemen is concerned?
Well, Simran, definitely now, like you said, definitely like Israel intercepted the ballistic missiles from Yemen and rejects ceasefire with Hezbollah, and Hezbollah even launches a significant attack on Tel Aviv Mossad headquarters, which Israel even reports are calling a historic landmark for the group. And even the IDF has also announced that their advanced Arrow, which is the aerial defense system, has successfully intercepted this very ballistic missile that was fired from Yemen. And even a post that was shared on X also that said that the missile was aimed at Israel and was intercepted mid-air, causing sirens and explosions also due to falling debris. Meanwhile, Israel has rejected calls for a ceasefire with Hezbollah, and now even Prime Minister Netanyahu has even vowed to continue striking Hezbollah with full force until the militant group stops firing rockets, dampening hopes for a ceasefire proposal that was pushed by the US and even European officials also. And now, very recently, Israel's latest strike in Beirut also killed a very senior commander, while Hezbollah retaliated with rocket attacks on multiple Israel cities. Now, even to very importantly note that Hezbollah even unleashed a barrage of over 170 missiles targeting several IDF headquarters, military bases, and even 5 Israeli cities. And even earlier also, like we said also, when we were keeping a close, eye on this very development, and US has also pushed for ceasefire as Israel vows to continue fighting. Simran.
All right, Brian, thank you for sharing the latest that you're tracking at this point of time. Right now, Major General Sudhakar Ji, in fact, the geopolitical expert, is joining me live on the broadcast as well. And what we can understand at this given point of time, thank you for speaking to NewsX, sir. But at this point of time, there is a lot of tension, which is in fact in the spotlight. And right now the Israel Defense Forces have also released a video which is right now going viral. In fact, they are explaining its strike deep inside Lebanon, where they have also alleged that Hezbollah had hidden weapons in the populated areas. And even after the killing of the Hezbollah commander, it remains to be a very worrying situation. If we talk about what's happening in Lebanon, is in fact, how do you view these latest developments that have also had impact on a lot of civilians who have in fact been killed, and a lot of them have also been displaced as well?
Good morning. Thank you for getting me to your show. Excellent question you have raised. Now, in response to this question, just allow me to dilate certain issues. 7th October 2023, for the first time in military history, electromagnetic spectrum was blacked out or jammed effectively by a non-state actor using the window from 6:30 a.m. till 6:55 a.m. They launched a kind of a blitzkrieg offensive from multi-dimensional platform unheard of in the history of military science by non-state actor, let me underscore. The second incident which has taken place in this sector, I am not shifting our attention to Central Europe, is the pager attack few days back, followed by the ICOM attack. This is again a very unprecedented kind of a technological assault which has taken place right onto the individual targets. The third thing that I wish to draw attention of our viewers is, if this offensive has shifted from Gaza Strip, that is from south of Israel to north, so what is the prime reason as to why, what is compelling Israel to shift its weight of the military combat power to the north? You see, it is very important to understand that this conflict, we are not going back in time prior to 7th of October 2023. I am only counting the window. It's almost 1 year now. For past 11 months, let's say, the bottom line timeline, Hezbollah has been carrying out intermittent shelling of rockets, of missiles, of different kinds of weapon systems. Mindful of the fact they don't have any air defense system, they do not have a surveillance platform, they do not have any air force. All that they have is a battle-hardened terrorist group called as Hezbollah. They have 1.5 lakhs of missile systems, including the rockets, and they have a couple of unsophisticated anti-aircraft guns, etc., etc. But beyond that, they don't have anything. But what has actually pushed Israel to take this recourse is, for past 11 months, the life of the citizens of Israel, Israelis towards the northern part of, I'm talking about the Litani River and south, of that particular area, 70,000 Israelis have been actually displaced. They have been compelled to move out, abandon the places of inhabitation, and moved out left, right, and center. So Israel is trying to create or make sure that the status quo ante is restored as early as possible. The Israeli population which used to reside here, they fall back to the northern part and go on to a peaceful and normal life as used to be prevalent prior to 7th of October. So therefore, what is actually happening is that Hezbollah, unless they stop the firing or carry out some kind of or negotiation to bring about ceasefire, I am afraid, Simran, that this war is poised to become an all-out kind of a war. At some point in time, there was an indication from either side that perhaps it is going to peter off, but unfortunately, it is not going to happen that way. I am afraid my assessment and study and research suggests that unless some drastic steps are taken, mindful, let me also tell the viewers, call about 1978 invasion, or you talk about the subsequent one, 86, 2000, 2006, any time Israel has invaded into Hezbollah, the latest one is of 2006. Israel had their armed forces, IDF had invaded into the Hezbollah area, the Lebanon, and after 30 days of unsuccessful war, Israel forces had to come back. I'll not go into the nitty-gritties as to how Hezbollah managed to bring Israel army onto the knees. That's a different story altogether. But what I'm saying is that the war, there are no solutions in conflict zone. The solutions have to be found by talking to each other, by bringing some sanity amongst the stakeholders, whether you talk about Iran or Hezbollah or talk about USA. USA happens to be the primary, the main stakeholder which continues to supply all the armaments, weapons, everything, all kinds of weapon system. Although US has shown its hands by advising Israel, Netanyahu, that you stop, please make ceasefire, Netanyahu couldn't care less because the safety of his citizens are at stake. So therefore, my assessment suggests that this conflict is going to assume all-out kind of a war. It is going to spread out all over. Should this continue, let me tell you that Syria, Iraq, and many other Arabic countries, perhaps as of today, they are not in support of Iran. Tomorrow things may turn, the same Arabic countries which are against Iran may turn in favor of Iran. It may become a whole of West Asia going into the conflict. Back to you, Simran.
Major Sudhakar ji, in fact, you have very rightly broke this entire crisis into perspective. And in fact, you know, when we talk about what's happening with the US also having the aim for calling the 21-day ceasefire across the Israel-Lebanon border, you know, as a part of a diplomatic push to prevent a regional war from breaking out and from erupting, you know, What the statements, as per your understanding, by Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, in fact, have now been meaning? Because, you know, he in fact at the UN General Assembly on Friday very correctly said that his office is also sharing the aim by the US. But, you know, Israel continues to strike Lebanon even after that, and you know, the injuries, the casualties, the bombardments leading to the displacement continue to happen unabated. How one makes sense of this entire explosion that are, you know, in line with of course this idea which is going against by the ceasefire ambitions?
Simran, excellent. But I must compliment you for raising the point. Anyway, but just as passing correction, let me just tell you, I'm not a major, I'm a major general with 37.5 years of service in the armed forces. So that's a long time, and between a major and a major general, there is a huge difference. So that leave aside, let's come to the question. The question which you are raising, Simran, Netanyahu, in a way, any man in his position would defend his citizens, make sure that his citizens are safe. What Israelis have gone through on 7th October, will any national leader, worth his salt, worth his sanity and responsibility, would leave the surrounding areas fraught with all kinds of inimical forces? I don't think so. While he may be right, you see, but at the same breath, allow me to also say that if you accept what has happened on 7th of October, as a non-issue, initially there was a lot of emotion and sentiments against the Hamas. But as the time passed by, people started ganging up against Israel. So what I'm saying is, if you accept 7th October as something that has happened as right, does it mean that you and me and a common person in this world, rules-based international order, we have accepted terrorism as a way of life? What is the answer? Hasn't the world come to a kind of a sensible conclusion that terrorism needs to be defined as per one understanding? There is supposed to be a counter strategy which India only had proposed way back in 1996 in the United Nations, that is gathering dust as of now until 9/11 took place. Until then, US itself as a superpower was not accepting to the proposal or the very thought of terrorist, the kind of onslaught which India was going through. It is after 9/11 they have started actually understanding the dangers of terrorism in the world order. So therefore, it brings me to the point that any country which is surrounded by forces inimical to its existence, it is the existential threat. It is natural that Israel will take, any country in its place would take actions which Israel is taking today. But is that the rules-based international order we are looking for? Has the international apex organization, have they gone totally defunct? What is United Nations Security Council doing? What is the superpower doing? Does it mean that the US as a superpower has lost its total full military might? It doesn't actually have any kind of weightage in the world order today. So if the answers to all these questions are not in favor of what you and me are discussing today, perhaps the time has come that we need to introspect, carry out some kind of a very deep analysis, find a long-term solution. The long-term solution lies not in putting the veto power with these 5 P5 countries. You need to expand the United Nations Security Council. You need to have the dialogue and diplomacy merely by lip service doesn't actually bring you to a dialogue table. It has to have the military might. India may be a credible nation which is actually bringing East and the West together, North and South together, but does it have the military might? It may be a economic power. Need time, we need support from the world order as far as the economic is concerned and the military might is concerned. Maybe if US is sensible enough, perhaps something bright and favorable may take place. But my sense is, till the elections of the US is over, till 5th of November, this intensity of this conflict will actually ramp up. It will go further up and there will be many more casualties. And the boots on ground of Israeli defense forces, when we talk about all these issues, the question, that moot question which comes, is the ground offensive by Israel against Lebanon likely? My sense is, whether it is likely or not.
Major General Sudhakarji, I'll request you to kindly stay on with us while I also hear all of your points which is being broken down. Let us also get some more breaking updates